Welcome to the School of Love, the place where miracles are normal. Hello and welcome to the School of Love, the place where we learn practical tools based on scientific research towards improving ourselves, living life to its fullest, and contributing to the best of our abilities to the world around us. I'm Dr. Maria Grajdian, and I'm a professor of media studies and anthropology at Hiroshima University. In my free time, I'm doing my best to guide you in building up a life of joy, contentment, and fulfillment while applying lessons learned in school to overcome the difficulties, challenges, and insecurities of the real world. In today's video, I talk about death, war, and suffering as part of a series titled Things I Have Learned from My Kids. I have been creating this series of videos, Things I Have Learned from My Kids, by recollecting crucial learning moments from my interactions with my children, particularly with my daughter, for reasons which are still unclear to me throughout the years. The series, Things I Have Learned from My Kids, includes short videos about very pragmatic approaches to quotidian challenges and sadnesses seen from the perspective of my daughter. Of course, there is a specific amount of rationalization and clarification involved in scripting and shooting and editing the videos, but the main ideas, those shared with me by my kids, or respectively by my daughter, when they were somewhere between 4 years old and 7 years old. But first things first, that is, two disclaimers. The first disclaimer serves to strongly emphasize the fact that this YouTube channel, The School of Love, is not part of my educational and research activities at Hiroshima University. It is nonetheless part of my privilege, joy, and sense of duty to propagate and implement knowledge, information, as well as motivation and inspiration outside the limited framework of academic endeavors. Together, we can build up a better tomorrow for as many of us as possible. The second disclaimer relates to the fact that I am a trained musician and musicologist, not a psychologist, therapist, or counselor. The ideas I am sharing in my videos reflect my deep-going preoccupation with life, my own life and other people's life, and express the results of my experiences, research, and for better or for worse, my failures, as well as my recovery from those failures, a recovery which is continuously ongoing. The ideas expressed in the videos on this channel, named The School of Love, cannot and may not and must not replace the consultation with specialists in those specific areas in your life in which you might have questions or you might struggle with. If you are new to the channel at this moment, I would like to ask you to please consider subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. Thank you very much. This helps us not only with that mysterious algorithm which seems to dominate the galaxy of YouTube, but also with contributing to the expansion of the community of humans doing their best to impact positively the world and those around them by discovering their authentic selves and living life wholeheartedly. Thanks again. With that being said, let's go back to the real topic of the video, which is, as I said, war, death, and suffering, as seen from the perspective of my daughter when she was a little child, when she was somewhere between 4, 5, 6 years old. And at that moment, she was going to kindergarten, and she was also, of course, watching animation movies. And her favorite one was Harry Potter. I think she was a little bit too early for that, for the movies, but very soon, as soon as she could read, she read all the novels. And well, in a way, I had to read the novels as well, so that I could communicate with her, so that I could exchange opinions and encourage her in specific pathways of thinking, respectively, so that I could, comfort her in it related to those elements which weren't so happy in Harry Potter. But going back to Harry Potter and Frozen, and later on even Baymax, what I remember at some point she told me that, people die. and people go away, and there is suffering. People suffer, but this doesn't mean that life is not beautiful, because separation is part of life. Death is nature. And she had seen friends of hers. She had pets, a dog, and she had seen that at some point the dog grew older and older, and it couldn't move properly anymore, and at some point he had to be put to sleep. And she experienced firsthand the sadness of her friends, in the we were living back then in Frankfurt in Germany, and she couldn't really, like, for her, like, she could see the sadness, and well, somehow this inability to move on of the kids, because they really loved their dog. But on the other hand, she was able to just sit with them, she without offering them any sort of consolation words or words of comfort. Just sit with them. And then when she came back home, she told me, no, I understand that they are so sad. On the other hand, it is normal that things and people and our what we love goes away at some point. And again, she gave me the example of Harry Potter. And then she told me, you know what, what they say in Harry Potter, that nobody really leaves us. Those who really love us, they don't leave with us. They stay with us forever. They are somewhere close to us, and they protect us, and they encourage us, and they support us, and they comfort us when we are sad. So, well, it is of course very distressing to not be able to see someone firsthand every day or regularly. We must. It's also comforting that they are there with us, and if we really love them, we also don't forget them, and we don't lose them. We keep them in our hearts. There were of course, some children books dealing with the same topic, and also not only about so pets going while dying, but also friends. When she was then in first grade and second grade, when she had started to learn to read, my daughter would read all these, Second World War books, which were like, they're very good, I would say, in building empathy in children, so that children learn that, to identify with the characters and to feel the entire spectrum of emotions this character is supposed to mediate. And she would always keep this idea in her mind that if we really truly love someone, they never go away. They stay with us. They are close to us. We can't even feel their presence. And the same goes when she was saying, like, sometimes people go to war because they cannot find friendly solutions to cope with problems. It's like, people fighting with each other. It's not that they stop liking or loving each other. It's just that they don't know how to solve the problems they're confronted with. Again, I think it's very important in light of this of this wisdom my daughter was displaying back then. I must confess, I was sometimes really taken aback by the level of simplicity of the ideas on the one hand, but also by the levels of pragmatism and observing the natural flow of life and not resisting it. And I really very much wonder how many of us actually have the ability, how many of us have actually lost this ability of seeing things the way they are, and then of trying to recapture that ability of seeing the things the way they were, and to stop resisting. Regardless how great the pain is, regardless how great the loss is, if we learn to accept it and to understand that we can keep the memories, we can keep the experiences as very treasured memories, and we have to let go, because those whom we love and those who really love us, they never really leave us. Yeah, so wanted to share with you this small nuggets of wisdom my daughter was sharing with me like almost 9 or 10 years ago. That also betrayal, or when people simply leave us, it's not because they're bad people. It's just that their role in our lives has ended, and we have to learn to cope with this with dignity and with acceptance, without resistance, because as they say in my meditation program, what we resist persists and increases this tension between this tension which results from us wanting things to be different when obviously they are a very specific way. So that would be for today. Thank you very much for joining me today, and always I'm looking forward to welcoming you very soon here. Love and peace to you all.